Hi, good morning, everyone. Sorry for the late start because for some reason just now when I try to enter the live stream studio, it was just crashing Chrome. I mean, for some reason. Welcome everyone back to the Angular Spotify live stream series. It's been I think let's check. I think it's been a year since I published Spotify. It's been a long time. And for some reason, there's still a lot of topic that I wanted to cover, but now probably the time because I has just been recently back to work with Angular again. I've been working in React for a couple of years since 2020. Yeah, now it's going back to the framework that I a bit more familiar with. So today, what do I want to talk about today? Do I need to introduce myself? I don't think I have to, but a bit, yeah. Anyway, so about myself first before we get started. It's been a year, so maybe that's how you didn't know me. Let me share the screen quickly. Share the screen. Hi. So my name is Chung, and I'm a front-end engineer. I think the description here is not relevant anymore. I've been doing this updating this readme for like 2 years ago, so now I have a bit more experience. Mostly I work with Angular, React, and TypeScript. The Angular community probably know me through a few projects that I built. So the most recent is Angular Spotify. The previous prior to Spotify there is Tetris, which is a small game that I built, and then Jira clone. Actually, let's spend another 1 minute to talk about them. Sorry, it's been a year. So, so that is Jira clone. It's very simple. It's just the UI look like Jira. So there's a board that you can move things around. It's very smooth because it doesn't have any interaction with the backend server at all. It's just purely client side. You can click in and basically change a certain thing, uh, which I built in 2020, and it's been a long time. I didn't push any update to this repo. The next one is Tetris. I haven't played it for a very long time, so feel free. I think it's still working. It's kind of cool. So when I built Tetris, it's more like I wanted to try to build a game with Angular, and then I saw a few. I mean, actually, there's a clone Tetris in React and Vue.js, so I had the inspiration to port it over to Angular. But then Spotify is something that that I started purely when I use a Spotify app. So I think it's still. Let me check. I have this here. I still have it. So it's just Spotify is essentially the application where you just start the app. It's try to authenticate you to the Spotify API, and then suddenly you get all the data. And there's a lot more I can do. So now I just only fetch the live song that you have, fetch the playlist, fetch the album, the browse thing where you can explore a bit more. Probably we can add a live stream to do the infinite loading because now it's only do the first fetch for the limit 100 item maximum. I'm not sure if it look clear enough. Let me just zoom in a bit. Okay, because now I had a bit bigger screen, so very unsure that if you see it very clearly. Anyway, so that is Spotify clone, and the reason, not the main reason that I want to have a Spotify clone, but one of the reason is that I want to have a visualization that look like Window Media Explorer that we had in Windows before. So it's kind of something that I really wanted to have. And then yes, that's why I start building Jira. A lot of community member has been contributing to this project, and I'm very glad and thankful for that. Thanks everyone. So today, what we want to talk about? Sorry for all of the introduction. It's been 5 minutes. So essentially, when I open the Spotify, I mean Just now is the progressive web app, so it can look like the uh, the the native application that's run on the OS, but it is essentially it's just the Spotify, the website. Um, and when you log in, no, it's not when you log in. When you open the app, it's required you to do a certain thing. There's a authentication that need to be bootstrapped, and then it will check if there is if you are authenticated basically. So how Zook is gonna be? Let me sign out first. You see it easier. Spotify.com. So let me sign out from Spotify first. Wow. So now when I refresh, suddenly you don't have the data anymore, and then you need to say, oh, actually, because you are not authenticated, you are not logged into Spotify, so you need to log into Spotify, and then you can use the Angular application. Um, I think when you just go in, it's redirect you immediately, and then I just say log in, yeah, and then it's go to the app. It has that the token that you got, and then it can start to fetch data. And all of this logic is like scatting everywhere. Um, it's not just about authentication. So let's try something now. So first we need to do this authentication, and then we need to go to Spotify and say, oh, hey, Spotify, I need you to transfer the player from the current um, application back into this Angular web player. So I think I draw a diagram from down a bit. You see it down. Here. So you need to connect to. I think it's two things. So that is a Spotify SDK, and there is the Spotify API. So SDK like player is purely for playing music, and the API is like for getting the playlist, getting the album from the server. So that is two separated things. And when I basically authenticated, so that's two things that you can see here. It will connect to the SDK and then see if it's ready, and then it say transfer the play user playback from the current open Spotify app. So if I open Spotify, you see that there is the small thing here. Let me zoom in a bit. Say you are listening on the Angular Spotify web player. So that was this transfer playback was doing. And then now go back to the thing. So authenticate and then just transfer playback. There's more, but I think that's essentially the 2 point. And the logic was just everywhere. So let me just close it. We look for subscribe. Now we look into the code. Sec. Oh, it's been a long time. I don't do it. Sorry. I don't really prepare before the live stream. So you have any question, anything, let me know, because I will just look into it very early, like yesterday, and then I had certain thing in mind that I wanted to do. So essentially, you can see we had a few service. So we had playback service, would handle the connection to the playback SDK, and then there is also the authentication service. Authentication service is very simple. I think is the auth service. How do I call it? Auth interceptor. How do I call it? Auth store take the token. So we need to look again. Sorry, I just keep forgetting what I need to. So that auth store. Oh, okay. I think because auth store is the component store. So I just embedded the logic to start the authentication here. There's init, So in the auth store, because it is just a component store and then can be injected everywhere. So it's just work as a service essentially. And then because we provided it in root, which means this component store is available across the application. Anywhere in the application, you can access to this auth store. The reason why I use component store because I was just playing around before. So that is mainly the reason. But you see that there is init. So the init is essentially say when the app is bootstrapping, just call this init. And I think at the moment I was calling this init in the layout component. So in the layout component, I was trying to call auth store, and then I was saying when you calling no when the layout starts to render, then you can start to do this first auth store. So the first thing, and then the second one, it's not like one by one because all of this is asynchronous. So we just do all of the initializing here. The load playlist can stay here inside this component, but we are dispatching it kind of too early because we are not sure that if the auth store here is gonna return us the result that we want, which is the token from the server. So this two, technically speaking, you wanted to say when the app is kind of initialized, you wanted to call these two things, and calling it inside a component is usually the way you can think of. But there is a better way to do it, because like think about it, like when Angular was bootstrapping, there's a lot of action is happening. It's we're trying to register the router, it's we're trying to register the store and all of this module that we import. It also try to register all of the injector as well. So when this layout will start to render, which means all of the previous thing has been it's been done. And these two init from auth store and playback service can be done earlier. So we look into this init again. It just try to say, oh, when the auth store dot init is invoking, trying to call this init auth function. And the init auth is simple, right? In the location, if there's a hash, because when Spotify redirect me back to the URL, it will just append a lot of stuff into it. So there's an access token, there's a token type expire in instead. So on the URL, as long as I don't have the hash, I will just redirect the user to Spotify. I mean, this is not very good because that's why when you open the app, it is trying to always redirect you to Spotify, and it is going back to the application. So it's like back and forth. But then because the token is lived for a very short time, usually just an hour. So that's why I say, yeah, never mind. I just don't want to store this token anywhere else because usually you will just get the new token anyway. But when you do it like development, it was just too bad because it checks if there's a hash and it's redirect you to Spotify. But then most of the time, it is only happening for one time. So when you just try to make any change on the code and then save it, and then Angular try to refresh, it just couldn't keep the current URL. So for example, okay, sorry, it's production. So let me just run it locally. Okay. So NS on my machine is like just oh. Cannot find project anywhere. Spotify. What is it? Okay. Just a sec. I didn't prepare for that. So to try to install the npm again. Oh, so it's a one-time fix up, which means we're creating this using the Angular, no, the npm older version. So you can see that here we have this package log version 1. I think when was that? I think it's 14. 14 is still using package 1. Because if I don't use 14 here, I think it's just trying to use the latest node version in my machine, which is 16. And 16 is start to 16 come with npm 7. That start to use log version 2, I think. I forgot. So yeah, now when we change to Node 14, and you start to install, it's kind of working, and it doesn't have to do this one-time fix up, which is going to take a bit of time. So again, go back to the thing here. So that is a auth store. It's trying to redirect you to Spotify, and then get back the URL. So after it's go redirect back to the application, it's gonna look like that. See, just suddenly there's a flashing. So it's like something like I think it's gonna be like that hash, and then all of the thing here like access token. It's gonna be something something, and then ampersand, and then token type, whatever. The reason you don't see it on the URL because when I get this and I just navigate to an empty path, which means that it just remove all of the hash. I will disable this thing and then we can see it easier. So that is the auth store. The playback store, in the other hand, the init is like saying, oh, actually, when the authentication store has a token, I wanted to also get the volume which is this thing, because I store it inside local storage. So when we open the app, we don't want it to just um, always set it to 100%. So it's like we wanted to save it. Now is it working? Yeah. So see, it just keep to the one that I set. So I say, if the token here is emitting any value, because I was filtering the token only emit a value when it is truthy. So the sequence for the playback is that actually it should happen after the auth store has been successfully um, authenticated with the server. So the code like that is like doing in parallel, but it's more like the first one need to be finished before we can do the second one. And then actually the third one have to be happen after the first one as well. So when you think about it, it is more like when the app init you wanted to say, oh, when the app init you initialize the auth store, the auth authentication process, authentication process, and then when the authentication process is finished, so that is just how you explain it in the English, right? So when the authentication process is done, then you initialize the playback service. So when you abstract it in action, it is like when the app, so it's gonna look like that. First, when the app is initializing, we wanted to abstract it via the NGI effect and NGI store concept. So what to say when the app initialize with this pattern action, this pattern app init action, and then when the app init is dispatched, then we initialize the authentication process, and then when the authentication process is done, we dispatch another action. Let's say auth ready. And then for when auth ready dispatch, then we initialize the playback service. So all of that thing is like happening in the server, in the effect. Instead of we are trying to do it here inside the component. Because think about it this way, like the layout, you wanted to change the layout in the future. You just wanted to say, oh, when the layout is rendering, there's certain logic has been initialized. So you don't have to, code this two method manually again. It is being done under the hood for you. So that's why that is the purpose of the refactoring today. So if we take this, okay, I just put it this way, and we save it. So if we take it now, what we need to do is like, oh, we need to create a. Okay, actually, let me save it. Don't save. Okay, save first in the desktop. So it's more like, okay, so here actually I don't have to do this because it's, yeah, it's easy. Oh, just do a plain text. Okay. So think about it like if we are reading it one by one like that, we need first the app init action. And then the app init need to be dispatched when the application is initialized. And when the app application is initialized, we can hook in a very interesting thing, which is the app initialize. I'm not an expert on explaining all of this stuff, so you look for it, app initializer. So that is just a token when the Angular was bootstrapping, and then it will look for all of this value that's provided by this app initializer, and then it will try to do certain things. It is like the provided function are injected at the application startup and executed during the app initialization. So the interesting thing is like, let me look into the thing. So here, that is how it look, how you can use it. You can just say in the app module, I wanted to provide this app initializer, and you register usually the factory to call the function. And then the function can just do a few things, or it can also kind of return a promise or an observable. So if it is going to return a promise or an observable, we need to look into the description again. That is important. So if any of the function return a promise or observable, the initialization is kind of paused there, and then it needs to wait until the promise is resolved or the observable is completed. So think about when you open the app, you say, don't do anything until I'm gonna load the translation from server. Then you start to rendering the app. You can do it via this function that return the promise. So you just say this translation service dot fetch language or something. So in the use case that we are trying to do, we also register an app initializer, and when the app initializer is kind of invoking this function, I just say, oh, this pass an action called app init, and after I have the app init action, I can start to create an effect, and then in the effect, I start to hook in the app init action and do this init for playback service and the authentication service. So I think let's do it. Um, Sorry, I don't have the way to draw a thing, but it is more like that. I think it's like, so that is a app init, and then I try to dispatch. Is it like that? So I dispatch an app init, and then when the app init is dispatching, there is an effect somewhere. Let's listen to this app init, and then in this effect, we do this auth init, and then playback init. Sorry for the terrible drawing, but what to do? So let's do it. I think it's been a long time I don't create the library using NX, so today maybe we just place it on into the shell first, and then maybe later on I will start to extract it out into this specific it's a specific module or library, because it's technically should be a app init module. So app config, should I maybe just, how to say, maybe let's do it NX generate UI library, and then I just say app init. So it's trying to do a dry run, lean phase, prefix, no need. Uh-huh. Oh, that's it? Oh, is it the way to do it? Really, I forgot. So the name, the entry file, It doesn't look like. I think it should be the nx library only. I think because when I created before, it was a bit more. So there's no nx here. Oh, that is weird. It should have some schematic that's related to nx. Maybe that's the reason why I don't see here because it's just a schematic. And I also forgot the oh I, npm the f the library. So okay. Anyway, sorry. Let's just put it into the shell thing first. It's not good to put it here, but say we can over extract it later. So it should be here inside the shell. I would say it's like next to the app config. There's an app init. Okay, maybe let me try one more time. And generate the same thing. What do I need to do? Is it like that? Because remember when I create the library with NX before, it was a bit small. I need to give in the prefix and such. Anyway, sorry. Let's just let's just put it here inside the app config. Yeah. Okay, it's fine. Say f init dot action. Yes. App init dot effect dot ps. Oh, the app action, how it's gonna look, I think, is it just like that? Export constant app init equal to create action. And then I just put in a string app init, maybe like that. Yeah, should be fine. And then the app effect, I just do a service. No, just app init effect. I just put the S because it could be multiple service inside. Yeah, whatever. So first of all, the effect we take care about it later. So we talk about app init first. We need to say on the application init, like on the app initialize this thing. So I just copy the whole thing. When the app is initializing, what happened? When the app is initializing, I wanted to dispatch the app init action. So that's how I do it. I go to the shell. Shell is where I register most of the like routing and store. So that is the place that I can register. And then eventually this shell is going to be imported into app module anyway. I think another problem with VS Code. So let me show you. So there's most of the code is inside library folder. And then now we look into app. You can see that we have the app module, and then the app module is just mainly importing the shell, and then you have everything out of the box, and then you just declare the app component. That's all. You can always put it here as well. Doesn't matter. But I just wanted to say put it in the shell for now. It's more like there's an app module that importing the shell. The shell is containing all of this, root registration and importing module. So let's put it here. App initializer, and then I need this function initialize app. I don't really need to create a function, but that's fine. I just create it to make it look a bit easier. Otherwise, I can just do it inline. It doesn't have to return a promise, or it should need to be a voice. And then I need to depend on the store. And then here, just store or dispatch. And then app init. And then because that's VS Code issue where it just couldn't interpreting things, so I need to import it manually again. Sorry for that. import from Angular Spotify and then shell. No, it's not shell, it's the f config. Okay. And then there's a, okay, inside there's no app init because I haven't exported yet. Let's export them as well. Export everything from library, app init, action. And we do the same thing for effect with the S. Okay, let's put it without the S then. No, with the S. Yeah, sometimes I was very confused on with the S or without the S. App init now should be here. Okay, good. And then I need to call this. And then see, let's see how it goes. Okay, now I just start it again. Should be fine. Okay. It's dying. npm and design angle icon. What's wrong here? Cannot read the length of undefined. Oh, maybe NX was using something new. We'll try to use 16. No, just do 16 first. Maybe, no, it's not. So that something is wrong. And inside ng and workspace file util project grab. I was doing a few things previously, so not sure if there's something was wrong. Look into packet log, is look okay then. What happened? Okay, we do a save thing first. Let me, because there could be a cache that I was trying a few days ago. So let me just remove this. And then let me install it again. Let's use just 12. I think that's how I was using 12. And then install. Should be quick though, because we tried to install it before. If we use Gen it should be even faster, but yeah, I've been using npm for the longest time. So when you do it inline, here see this Refactoring, it needs to be an arrow function. That is going to return a function. So if I do it inline, is the syntax is going to be look a bit headache, something like that. While we are waiting for the thing. So if I do it inline, right? Because here it need to be a function. So technically I need to do another function like that. Yeah, I think the function return a function, that return a function. So you might not want to do it. Is it something like that? Why is error? Just don't know why there's an error. Should be fine now. Sorry, it's just because npm is suddenly we remove everything, so now it couldn't understand anything at all. So let's take another few minutes. So you get the idea. So now we have the initialize app. Inside the initialize app, we just this part is an app init, and then in the effect, what you can do is like just inject the action from effect, and then you create an action, say init auth, right? Is equal to create an effect, and then here you just say when the action is in the type of app init, you do something with it, right? So sorry, it's an off time. Almost forget. You need to be a bigger T. Oh. Off time app init. Off time is there. Okay. You wanted to do something. It's still complaining because we are not, returning any action. So because we are not going to return any action, we just say, okay, this start to 4. It's literally you wanted to do some side effect here. So when the app init is dispatching, what you wanted to do is like call this thing private. Now we can inject the auth store in or store. Okay. And in the tab, you just do this auth store dot init. That's all. But there's an error. Tab init. What's wrong? I still don't get it. Just like, let's see if this thing is running. Yes. If it doesn't work, then seems like working now. Okay, okay. Was sweating. I was trying a bit higher angle version the other day, so could be the problem. So anyway, now let's see what is an issue here. So we're trying to create an effect. So when the action is in type init, we wanted to call it authstore dot init, and init is just the void. So we just invoke. So it's look fine. I still don't get the issue here. Do you see it? Do you see the issue here? It's like in this tab. I don't really get it. Really. An argument for interceptor. Okay. Argument of type void is not assignable. No. The void not a. Oh? Maybe what we provide this path phone, so it doesn't have to. It doesn't require you to give a type. No, really. Huh. Oh, it's so okay. It's not tapped from low dash, so it needs to be tapped from I guess. Oh, what's weird. So if we do it this way, we can later on, because we are not registered this effect anywhere else, so it is not triggering yet. So you need to say effect module dot forward or something to register this in order to in order for this effect to run. But at the moment you don't register it somewhere. So that's kind of working. Let's open it locally 200. Oh, crashing already. See, because the reason why I have this crash, because I integrated it with Sentry, and where it is here in the web shell. I show you again, because Angular was providing you a way to um, handle the error um, globally. So you just need to provide something with the error handler. So it could be a function, and usually in a function, you could say, oh, show a pop-up when there's an error, show a tooltip, no, not tooltip, the snack bar. So it's at least you show user there's an error. But then because I was using Sentry, and then I would just say, oh, actually, when the error happened, just show the dialog from Sentry, and then you can type in the issue and say what happened, and then in the real application, it could be the case, right? When the error happened, the user wanted to report it, and we need to provide a way for the user to report it, or at least the least thing that you have to do is like you need to tell the user that there's an error, because when you click a button and then it just doesn't say anything, it was frustrating. I think it was so weird. So okay, look into the issue. The issue is like we cannot read the property dispatch from this initialize app, because the store here is nowhere to found. And in order for it to be ready here, you need to do a def array so that you can take the store. So I think so just do a def here, dependency array. So we can, so this thing is like a list of token to be resolved by the injector. So this, when this initializing app is triggering, it doesn't work as like a normal component where you just inject into constructor. Here you need to explicitly tell what you need. So here I need the store, so I say, oh, I need the store. That's why, and then the store is going to be available here in the signature function code. Now it should be gone. Just open it again. Should be gone. No. Save it. Let's save it. Maybe it's not here. Just like initialize F factory. Oh, okay, so it's not here. Oh, so we need to use the weird thing again. So it is available here technically. So it need to be actually it's the store is going to be available here. This store, and then we need to do this, and then we need to do it this. See? And then inside, actually, I don't need this function anymore. It's just call the store. Why is it? Why is it defined? Sorry. Just do it. So see, there is the function that return a function. So the syntax when there's nothing depend is a bit like that. It's a bit weird. That's why I wanted to extract it to a function. And then the def is available on the first function, like the first callback. I think. Not sure if it's how to explain. So now it is dispatching an app init and it's kind of working. We need to check the redux, I think. So init, store init, update reducer init, and then we have this app init. You can see here. Let me highlight it. So with this part, the init, and then now, in order to remove the first thing, right, go back to layout component. Now we just remove this technically. We don't need it anymore. Here. Okay. Do a shortcut to remove the unused import, which is, let me, I have keycast here. The keycast for you. Easier? Yeah, on the right. So what I was pressing just now was this option C and O. See? So let's say I import sorry, I just always wanted to talk about so many things. And Spotify, whatever. I just wanted to say that something that's gonna be used. Right. So because this thing is not gonna be used, and you still import it inside the thing, you don't have to go up and then remove it manually. You can do it, but you can say you press option shift and O, and then it's gonna be gone. So again, option shift and O. Yeah. Hope that you don't know about that. Now you know. So again, I think I was what do I do? Okay, go back to the thing because I don't have the auth thing anymore. So now when you open this, it just keeps the spinning, and nothing is happened. Because the auth is the one who control of the redirect to Spotify and get the token. So we have moved this logic into this app init effect, where you say, okay, actually when you init the app, when this thing is called, just call the app store init. So now I need to register this init effect somewhere. So let me register it in the shell, the web shell, module. I will register something here. See. So now I just say app init effect. Doesn't work. Oh. So you need to register it before the effect is going to be listened and then going to be triggered. So after we register it again, then you see that it starts working again. Right. It start to fetch the thing, and then there was this ready to use device. I'll show you how it look when this. So let me comment this out for 1 second. This router. What's wrong? Ah, router now is not used. Really? Wow, this strict mode is sometimes works. Is it working now? Yeah, it's just that some import is not removed, and then that's why. See, so now let me go to localhost for 4200, and now you just suddenly see this all of that. So the access token, and then there is this token type. Yeah, let me highlight it, and then there is expire in. So usually it's like just gonna be expire in an hour. That's why I don't keep this token. And when I uncomment this again, so now of course is okay. Sorry, I just undo again. Refresh. Very slow. Undo again. It's working, but you don't see all of this, redundant hash anymore. So that's what the reason. And what I mean is, I say let me go into this playlist, for example, and then I wanted to go to this 80s, and then I wanted to go to this 80s. Now I'm here in this new file. So if I change anything literally, let's say I open the artist component, I just do a console somewhere here. I save it, trigger the refresh. It's refreshed, but then because the auth init is always trying to redirect the user to Spotify and back and forth, so you see the fragment on the artist was gone. So that is a bad experience when you develop locally. I think I can fix it quite easy, but I was still lazy. So yeah, maybe we can fix it in the next live stream. So it is more like the auth init, no auth sort. Instead of always just say redirect to our authorize and replace the URL, I can always check one more thing, right? Okay, so if like for example, yeah, something like that, token, I just return because I have a token, it is fine. So if I just store the token in the local storage, for example, the artist thing, it should be kept, but at the moment I don't do it. So yeah, that was the reason why when you change anything, it will always go back um, to the home page. Oh, okay. So now we have the app init. So let's say, okay, let me to actually we can commit directly into main. Okay, let's just but let's just do it a bit properly. Say create a new brand. That's it. Refactoring. Logic. Okay. Let's just, and then I will say refactor the auth init using app init action. Commit it, and then now we do this playlist initializing. Oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? Oh, that is circular dependency. So the app config and web share config, web data access, Oh, oh. So it looked like we have a circular dependency. It's still working though, but they don't want to allow this import thing somewhere. For example, here, like the type UI can only depends on type util and type UI. Oh, okay, sorry. Actually, it's been there forever, but because the the link here is only introduced after I've been finishing the first the first version. That's why now it start to display a bit of error. So I think we just need to look into that, or we can just commit it without verifying. But let's look into. So there is web app config and web auth data access, and then app config is require data access, and then because data access set data access Spotify API, and Spotify API is depends on app config again. That's why we have that issue. So the easiest way to fix it is like we don't place this tool in the app config anymore. We need to extract it into a proper NX library. And okay, I think event nevertheless we need to create a library. But because usually I will just depends on the NX generates too much. So really, what's wrong here? I don't see it. Let's just restart the Anchor server. Not sure what's wrong, but it should suggest us the I believe it need to be something like NX clan Angular library, no? Let me close it again one more time. Sorry for that. Close, open again. Okay, see. Um, NX UI. Oh, okay, see. So now, but agree. No, so that's now it's NRWL Angular library. Can you see it? So that's the one that we want. It's not the schematic Angular library. Okay, now we can do it. So let's okay. I've just put the mouse away, and I generate. And then you say, oh, library name, app init, web share. Okay, good. IV. Okay, lazy. No. ESLint. Prefix doesn't matter. I think the rest doesn't really matter. Strict. Okay, put a strict. The tag here, I forgot what I usually put. Alex, JSON, is it? Uh, where do I usually put all of this scope? I forgot. It's been a long time. Where was that? Really? Angular JSON? Oh, no. Because I think now it's been broke into. Okay, let's just look for scope. Type UI. See, now it's been breaking down to things. Type UI scope. Well, I think it's not a UI anymore. It should be type of something. Could be a feature because it says the data access thing. Okay, let's just say data access then. But it's not really the data. What to do? Type feature. It is hard, right? Okay, so just say type feature. Scope web, just okay. Right. And then suddenly you have a lot more file that you need to deal with. Okay, just uncommit it, and then now, okay. Here, so that's layout. Okay, we don't care about too much. So there is the shell, okay, and then there's app in it. So essentially, we just remove this module. Doesn't really matter. Okay, and then I'll just move the two thing from this, right? This two. Cut it, and then move it into live. Okay, and then here back to the thing. I just remove this tool, change this. Why not? Have it. What's wrong? Ah, because it's inside the index already. Oh, okay. Is it I need an index outside as well? I think I need an index outside as well. Okay, so I just do first like that, then I need the index outside. That's fine. Okay. On live. Okay. Look fine. Now we need to fix the yeah. Is it? No. I think it's only the effect and oh where we this part I think is important as well, right? So here the init here it need to be from the right path. It's not from app config anymore, it's from app init. Yep. Should be fine now. And then we go into the effect. Oh, oh, because it's relatively okay. So I think it's fine now. Let's try to do it again. Okay. The AM is it? If it's not gonna work, I mean now it's gonna fix one issue, but then the other three is still then a problem. Because the layout is just an UI, so essentially it cannot depend on other type. I understand that, but okay, just verify for now. I think it should be fine. It's been there forever. I will fix it. Hmm? Hmm? What? AM. AM is like everything, no? Oh, that's weird. Can I just change the thing? Okay, just let. Okay, fine. I usually I'm not really using this. Oh, click add. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. I need to add first. I commit. Okay, and then now I just wanted to merge the two commit into one. With the base to S. Just copy this, close, and just save one. Okay. So now the two commit is only combined to one because it's just on your local machine and you can do all of that. Doesn't really matter. So you don't have to worry if I mean, if you push it on master, then you have to worry because you have to push force to override. But because you only do it in local, that's fine. So now it's okay. We will go into the next thing, which is after the app init is fine, right? So we do the auth, but then now we need to do the next one, which is plain text again. So we do a next one, which is the authentication process is done. We do this auth ready, and then when auth is ready, and then we can initialize the playback service. Because at the moment the playback service is listening to the token, and the token is kind of I don't know, it's kind of weird. We can do it actually. It is fine like that, but everything. Auth store. The first thing is like here, right? When it is authenticated, we dispatching an action. Because after that, we already passed the state, which means the inside the store now, it has oh, hello one. Hello one. Because now inside the store, it has the token already. So technically, we can do now like this dot store dot dispatch auth ready, and then when auth is ready, we just do the playback service dot init. This could work, and then we don't really have to do this subscribe anymore because it was yeah, it was okay. So we just need to do this init playback SDK. Let me do side by side. The subscribe inside the service is technically is fine, but I don't really like it. So when we utilize all of the NGI effect and component store effect, they will do the subscribe under the hood for you. So you don't have to manually call the subscribe so that the observable can be triggering. So maybe let's try the first one. Let's just create a auth ready. Oh, just call this auth ready. Okay, that's nice. Here I'll just say where is it? Where's the constructor? Sometimes I prefer, yeah. Recently I prefer to put the constructor like to the top, so it's easier to see. Previously I tended to do all of the property and then down below and then constructor and then the method, but then now I just say that I'll just put the constructor on top, easier to see. Store and store. And you just dispatch the auth ready, right? And then now is the thing. Now we need to say, okay, app init. Actually, it doesn't sound like app init anymore. It's more like an application effect where it just do all of this global handling. But I mean, I call it app init anyway. So it's a bit, yeah, okay, that's fine. We should, okay. Application effect. I'll change it later. So now it's like init playback. So the same thing. You listen to the F ready pipe off time auth ready. Okay. And then inside that you do something. Okay. I will just do this part phone as well. Because we are not return any kind of action. So and then it's not enough. We need with let's this from I think we need this too. We need token and we need the volume. So what we can do, we can say okay. With let's this from can only take from one observable if I'm not mistaken. And with this two, no, only one. See, source 1, 2. We select this from. Oh, let me try. So this token, and then can I try this? Setting facade. Okay. First of all, let me comment it out. Setting facade. Setting facade dot volume. Did it work? Oh, it doesn't complain. So here it technically should have two things. The first is action, right? And then next one is token and volume like that. I also not sure. Can it infill the time? String? Oh, I think it's working. Okay, volume is string as well. Token is also string. Oh, volume is string, really? Okay. Something is wrong. Something is off. Somehow it's just take as a string value string. Already the second one is string. So it's technically it doesn't understand this, right? Value observer string or number. Okay. So we just say, oh, okay. We do it this way. Took a bit off. Value now is it understand as two? Oh yeah, now it's string or number. Okay. Token and volume. Yeah, so I need to take the width like this from two things. So I need to do combine state. Then we do this. Very simple. So we don't even need this. Just a sec. Let me think. Mm. 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 Maybe it doesn't work then. So on app ready and then we still need to do the subscribe. If we don't want to do a subscribe, because see, init playback is just an observable, I think. New player. Huh? Oh, okay, doesn't have to. It's just a technically it's just a function that return a promise. That's fine. So we can say we can remove the whole thing. We remove one subscribe and we just say inject this inside here. Really fine. Okay. So here, playback service on init working. Is it private? Okay, that's fine. Because I used to say I only need this init. Now it's not private anymore. Is it? Init playback? Yeah. Okay, it's all private. Okay, can. So now look into it again. We have this auth ready. Auth ready is gonna be dispatched when the auth store is kind of ready and authenticated. And then on the auth ready, we just take from token and volume, and then we initialize the playback SDK with the token and the volume. I think it should be fine. Okay. Where is stop you think? Okay, run it again. Oh, I think we need to remove it from here as well. Yeah. Now it's not here anymore. When you test this component, you don't say when this component is initialized, we wanted to check if the other two is dispatching. You just wanted to say, oh, on this component, there's only the load playlist, and we test the other effect. So we only test this effect when this action is dispatching. Is it gonna call this init playback on the playlist service? Now you move the responsibility of initialize into an effect, and it is always running. That you don't even have to see it on the component code. It makes things so much easier because think about you need to change this layout. For example, you don't want to clone the other two again because the responsibility of the layout is purely just to render the piece of UI, and then basically that, or load the playlist and then render it on the UI. you don't want to say the layout is, is responsible to initialize the authentication and also initialize the playback. That is too much responsibility for the layout. So the way we are doing is like we offload all of this into an effect, and we start to dispatch an action in the web shell using the App Initializer. So by doing the App Initializer, you can say, oh, when the app is start to initialize, I wanted to do a certain logic, and then you can do it here instead of bring it into a component, which make it feel like the component is handling too much. Is it working? I think so. Yeah. It's still kind of working as expecting, I guess. Sorry, because I don't have test to run. So the test is gonna come on the next, kind of live stream then. So look back into the channel we did. We only dispatch the auth ready when the authentication is ready inside the service or inside the store. And then we create a new action that's obvious. And then in the effect, we create a new effect called initialize the player. So when the auth ready is calling, then we start to combine from the existing store, and then we start to initialize the playback. Okay, just call this playback at DK. And that's it. From that, we can remove a bit of code from the service. We don't have to do a subscribe within the service, which is nice. And we can start to remove a few initialize logic from a component, which is very nice. So the component now, the responsible for a component is purely just to dispatch an action to fetch the data and render it. And this thing technically, you know, we can have a better way to do instead of just dispatching inside the component itself. We can dispatch it somewhere. Could be could be on the component store init, because like if we implement a component store for this component, then you say, oh, actually when the component store is initializing, just dispatch this action to fetch the data, and then this component is now only care about the data that's come in, and then take the data, render it, or do something with it. It doesn't have to worry about the fetching of the data. So now we say app auth ready action and offload in playback to effect. After that, I think what we need to do, I think you still need to do yeah, of course, commit with no verify. I push it to remote. Then what else we need to do? The idea here is like we have a lot of subscribe the application. It is not wrong. That's how we do it. Subscribe. But of course, there's certain things that we can do better. So let's see. What we can also remove. See, there's a few things that I say, oh, let's refactoring it in the future. Web visualizer store. Oh, what is that? Oh, what's the one that init? It technically should be an action on itself because the thing here is like say it's just like this effect because when you oh this effect is not just like let me think right. Oh, I see. So set all of this effect in the component stores that we need to trigger it. But what if we can just how can I say just execute this thing as long as the navigation is emitting a value? It's gonna be a bit different from create effect. Let's check it out then. Component store uh, store effect. Effect I can call back with an observable. Take new call of the effect which pulls the value into an observable. So it needs to be call. Then it will execute. I wanted to do something like immediately executes it. Oh, okay. We can do it this way. For example, here right? We say read only. No, read only. Just remove it. Read only. Let's just take the whole thing. Oh, it's gonna work. Um, how to say? Is somewhere PIP. Okay. Show visualizer. Visualizer as PAP equal to this dot effect. Okay. It doesn't have to contain any param. We just return immediately this, and then we call this inside. Show. Yeah, to work. You don't have to subscribe. Yeah, yeah, kind of working then. So what is the difference here is like we move all of the logic inside the effect, and then we just call the effect. And then when you call the effect, it is gonna subscribe under the hood for you. Instead of you call the subscribe by yourself. I think it's this one will be better. Right. See the change. Everything was almost the same. It's just we bring it into an action and call it. Prior to that, we just call and subscribe and the same thing. So let's just say remove the visualizer init visualizer. Let's see what else we can do before we end the thing. Let's go one by one from top to bottom. Right? I think the first thing we can do maybe. Eh? Option 0. Somehow it really sucks. Oh, something is wrong. I usually can go down from the source editor, but now it's just coded. Okay. We can. Oh, say for example this thing, a few of this it could be an effect. So like the initialize or analytic, it is like when the router is ended, we wanted to send a page view to Google Analytics, and at the moment we do it inside the app component, which means is fine. It's like, but it can be done even earlier. So if we can offload this logic into the effect, then how it's gonna look? It is gonna look exactly the same. So let me first of all remove this. I just copy this one. No, not copy this. I just copy that. Comment all that out. Then I go into the app. Okay, let me just maybe change app init to application effect. Application effect. Okay. Now we say init. Okay, send Google Analytics page view to create an effect. And then because the create effect can just take in and observe anything, it doesn't really have to listen from the action. It could be, oh, it could take from the router, and then event, okay. And then instead of do subscribe, I just say tap, right? Tap is better. When I was young, I would just do too much subscribe. I think it's not good. So you can just do tap and then subscribe after the tap. Yeah. Filter. Okay. And okay, that's why I need to add in the router. That's all. Cannot find name router. Eh? That's weird. So filter the event navigation end. Then we do tab. Maybe tab here is wrong as well. Tab is correct. Oh, and then we just say this path to phone. Yeah. This path. No. Create an effect action. Okay, it's missing one. What's wrong? Where is the tab? Okay, we need to close the thing, right? We pipe. Okay, here. Remove this. This. Oh, this is nightmare. I just write it down again. That okay. And then we say this dot router is working. Dot events dot pipe filter. Okay, here I can do say this path is phone as tab. I can say okay, and then now we can do something like that. And then we don't really have to do this thing anymore. We can just say events is navigation. Because now, if you don't do this type guts, the event here is just understand as event. But if you do it as type gut, like event is, because you know that after the filtering happening, it have to be navigation end. There's no way around it. So you can say, oh, actually, when this thing is an instant of navigation end, just narrow down the type into navigation end for me. And I exactly know that is going to happen. So here you just say, oh, event. And then we inject it, do we? Private. What are the service? Is it inside the shell? Oh, too bad. Inside here. Ah, then I can move it to shell. Okay. There's a few things which still is the inside the app folder, which technically it could be moved into the library. What do I do now? Because the effect is inside its own effect, so I cannot import from the app. Store API. There's certain thing like whatever could be something here. Share service or something. Okay, I just put it inside app init for now. Yeah, maybe these two prompt update service as well. So put it in. Okay, I just do one by one. That's how you should do it. You just do one thing first before you break the other thing. App init and sort. Move. Okay, fine. That's fine. It doesn't really depend on anything. Huh? What's that? Include? Why? In should be already. Oh, that's service. Nice. And then now I just comment now. So here you say if the router is emit an event, I mean this always happening, right? When you change between page and page, when this thing is emitting an event, you wanted to call the function that's sent to the analytics. And then because this observable is like we are passing now into create an effect. So internally, this creating effect is going to subscribe for it and listen for it for us, so that we don't have to do this dot subscribe here anymore. Now we're comparing to the old way we do. Right, okay, we can do by side here. I think it's just say app init effect application. That's the old way. The old way is like we put it on production. Oh, maybe I need to do this environment of production as well. So we do it. If it is production, then we call the init Google Analytics, and inside Google Analytics, I was listening to the route events, but I need to subscribe. That's the difference. And then the responsibility to initialize this Google Analytics is not actually be part of the app component. It is like when you run the app, this logic has to be there for you. Whether you're using this app component or you use other web app component, like whether you use the same Bootstrap component, doesn't really matter. This logic has to be there. So that's why if we move into an effect that is registered globally, it is going to listen and do it for you. So in the future, you need to change this. Yeah, if you ever have to change it, you don't have to copy this block of code again over. So it's interesting here because it's we only wanted to send a page view when it is environment production. How do I do it? It could be okay. Yeah, maybe if environment. I'm not sure if I can import it from here. Environment is where's from? Or from the app component. From the app. Oh, I see, because it is here. But there is a way for me to take this production true or false somehow. I forgot. Let me check. Okay, we just assume that we file for also development environment. Let me just remove it. Okay, so now router and Google Analytics is gone. So app component now is very lean. It doesn't really care too much, which is very good. Because when you look into app component, it's only there's a root, there's a router outlet. That's all. So when we start to offload, we start to put all of this logic into app component. It doesn't feel right because it only contains the router outlet. So why is it have to worry about Google Analytics or the force update? All of that is need to happen under the scene. So technically, the app component is going to look purely like that. Nothing. It is very lean, right? It only has router outlet and that's all. So now we can do the same for force update. After we do this force update, we will see how we can take this production in place. The same, right? It is very simple. When the thing is init, then you start this force update. There's only an observable of something variable pi. So now we just create an effect. Yeah, that should work. Like create an effect. Application effect. Okay. So now what do we do? Add store.init file. Um, I was thinking this is gonna return an observable. This is gonna return an observable. Yeah, of course. That's how it's gonna look. It is false. This dot action dot pi app init. And then we say tab. This tab is map. It's like return a new observable, right? Can we? No, the action stream need to return something. Oh, sweet map then. Oh, but it's just a void. How do? Let me think about it a bit more. Apply all app init. Okay. We have missing this off time. And then here we need to do something. If we do tab, it probably doesn't work. Oh. Up phone. If we do app init, can we do map here? Just a second. Map. Map. No, the thing is the action here. They wanted to return update. From update dot false update. The thing is, I started to be a bit confused after very long time don't do a live stream from update. Order service. I haven't moved it in yet. What's that? Add it. Yeah. Put it inside. Okay. Okay. I don't need to worry about that. I just remove this thing and then from other service. Okay. And then that's it. Oh, this is gonna work like that. It's gonna return an observable. It need to be sweet map now. So it's like when the app init is triggering, we wanted to this thing to be invoked, and because it's just a event of something, then and it's good also trigger all of this reload is and such. I think that's fine. It should work then. Do a purely map, it might not work because map it just say, oh, return you this thing. Swiss map is say take the value of this observable. So if we do sweet map, I think it's gonna work. When I don't have any unit test to make sure. But then the important thing now here is the app component is very lean. There's nothing inside the app component at all. It just has the router outlet and everything else is inside this application init. Application effect, including init authorization, init playback SDK, send the Google Analytics page view, and force update initialization. And the way we are dispatching the app init is via an app initializer. The app initializer DI token. And yeah, I think that's everything that I wanted to share today. Hope you learned something. Sorry if there's quite a lot of part that I was confused and were not explained very clear because it's been a very long time I don't do live stream. So really sorry for that. Just say refactor and app component logic into the app with the effect. Oh my goodness, I think I forgot to do the git add. Can we do it one more time? Commit it again. And then we just git rebase. And then merge them again. Yeah. Yep. So now it's only one commit. We do like few things. So we use the app init to initialize the auth. Then we dispatch the auth ready after the auth was initialized, and then we init the playback SDK, and then we remove a couple of subscribe from visualizer and remove a couple of logic from the app component. So the end result is the app component look very lean. We have a app in application effect who take care all of the common logic. That doesn't have to be a responsibility of the component. And I think that's all. Yeah. And to repeat one more time, we utilize this app initializer DI token a lot. So maybe that's something you should consider on your next Angular application. The next one probably I still wanted to remove all of the subscribe here. And still few more. And if the subscribe inside the component itself, what we can do is technically just to how to say introduce a store. For example, here we have a store already, so we can think about how to bring this logic into the store so that we don't see the subscribe. But for the thing that doesn't have component store, then I think it just doesn't have any other way unless you have a effect that you can dispatch and an action, and then from the effect it's gonna return you some observable. I think that's it. Let me go through it one more time. Mostly subscribe. Okay. Now I prefer to bring all of this logic in subscribe into a tab so that it is clear. I filter the tab. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. It's obvious to me that it is a side effect, and then the subscribe just subscribe. You don't do anything in the subscribe. You just subscribe so that the observable is in effect, it's gonna run, but you don't do anything inside. If you wanted to do anything inside, just do it via the tab operator because it's designed specifically for side effect. I think that's all then. I will create a PR. I will merge it. I will start to deploy it and see if it breaks anything. And soon, probably, I need to start to introduce uh, proper tests into this project. And there's a lot of upcoming feature from Angular 14, so probably more live stream to come in the future. And once again, thank so much for turning spend a Saturday morning. Anyway, if you wanted to talk to me, if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to, I always really excited to talk to you people. Feel free to go to this website like chunka18.com. There's a calendar that you can book a slot that if it fit to your time zone and talk to me for half an hour. So the time here is in Singapore time zone at 6:30 p.m. every day. But if you don't see the slot here, just drop me a message on Twitter. Where's Twitter here? Yeah, is it here? Twitter. Just drop me a message on Twitter and then let me know. I can arrange something and we can talk. Yeah, always happy to talk to new people. And once again, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. And broadcast and postcard.